Oh, Brady Russell. So when I was a senior in college, there was this kind of all-purpose liberal organization on my campus that had served activist groups, and I had been a part of them, and they got a new director that year, and so when she started, I decided to take advantage of her and be like, hey, I could use a job, and she was like, cool, I could use some help around the office, and she gives me a job, which is great, and I met her baby and her cool doctor husband, and then I had the whole job thing taken care of, so I was free to do what I wanted to emphasize in my senior year, and in my senior year, that was pissing everybody off, and I was really good at that year. I graduated college with nobody liking me at all. And one of the things that really helped me get there was I just started drinking. So on my 21st birthday, I took my very first drink, and I started drinking, and drinking really helps you to be a prick. And also this newly minted love of alcohol landed me in the emergency room, though I was in no rush to get there. So it all started, as these things do, with this girl. I was a dorky guy in college who was good at becoming friends with really beautiful women who weren't really interested in me but loved to have me around. And in such situations, you know, I would be petulant or pissy or distant or too sweet or too nice or like really hostile or any of a number of other really charming character traits that dorky boys like me can have in those situations. So one Friday night, she sits me down and says, you're really driving me seriously insane, like, for real. And so that felt good. So I decided to do what one should do in a moment like that and go get schnackerdoodled. So, like I said, I was a campus activist, and I was friends with a bunch of the labor kids, and I knew the labor kids were having a party that night, so I was like, let's go find them. So these are like, you know, the union babies on campus, the kind of kids who, you know, started drinking hard liquor in middle school, and I had my first drink when I turned 21, right? So these are the people that I probably should be drinking with, right? So I go to this party, I meet up with this guy, George, who was kind of the leader of the labor kids on campus, and he's making us like gin and tonics. And remember, like, I'm upset about a girl that night, right? So when you're like, you know, 22 years old and you're upset about a girl, the right thing you do is you find another girl to focus on because then, you know, she doesn't know you well enough to make you feel bad yet. So you put your attention there. And at this party, there was this hostess who was able to drink like anyone there under the table, and she was really pretty, and she had this long brown wavy hair, and she's hanging out with me and George, and totally keeping up with George, so I'm trying to keep up with both of them, and that's not good, right? Because I started drinking like 6 months before that. Okay, so we're out on the porch, and I went to two things you should know, is one, I'm kind of acrobatic, like I'm good at gymnastics, like I mean, not like, you know, Olympics, but like, you want me to do a somersault or a cartwheel, and I'm like, I'm your motherfucker for that kind of shit, right? And I'm good at that stuff. And the other thing you should know is the town I went to college in is really hilly. Like, it's a very, very hilly town. And this house party is taking place it's on the side of a hill, and it actually, there's a hill that goes off the lawn from the house that goes down to the sidewalk there, right? And so we're hanging out on the porch, and I want to impress this hostess, right? And some guys are up on the railings, and they're seeing people, it's like 2 in the morning, and people are coming home, and they're on the railings like hello, going home, yeah! And the pretty hostess comes out, and she's like, you drunk fuckers, because I mean, she's been pounding it, but she's not drunk at all, and because she can drink, and I couldn't, but I was trying. And she's like, you drunk fuckers, gonna hurt yourself, get off the railing before you kill yourselves. And I think to myself, the pretty hostess might be impressed to know that if I were on the railing, I definitely wouldn't fall off, because I got really, and so there are alternate versions of what happened next. There are those who say I dove off the porch at that point. I at least jumped, and I definitely started doing somersaults, but it had to be pure muscle memory, because I remember thinking, you know, the sky, why does it keep passing by? And at the crest of the hill, people thought I was going to stop, but I didn't stop, and I rolled down the hill, and I smashed into the sidewalk, and my head hits it really good, and I jump up, and I'm like, I'm okay, and my friend Nadia's right there, and she's like, but you're bleeding, and my first reaction is, but I love this sweater. This guy who had EMT training checks me out, and he's like, you're okay, you're cool, you have some bandages around my head, but George walks me home. But like a couple hours later, I'm still kind of bleeding. It doesn't, whatever. I wake my buddy Tig up, and I'm like, take me to the hospital, take me to the emergency room. And so we go to the emergency room and we wait there for a little while. I'm not bleeding that bad, but it's a head wound and whatever. It's like 4 in the morning. So a nurse takes me into the emergency room, into the room. The doctor walks in the room and he looks at me and I slur at him and I'm like, "You look really familiar." And he says, "Yeah, don't you work for my wife?"